did a great job, and of course Najee did a great job. All the running backs, to be honest with you. And I think we just played with a lot of effort and the physicality. Yards up to contact. Najee was getting pushed by O-line, and saw Muth in there a couple of times. So those yards up to contact, kind of pushing the pile. We need those, and it kind of sparks you up.
Running game. Really the best thing going for the Steelers yesterday offensively, and Justin Fields had a lot to do with that. 11 carries, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Don't look now, but on the season, Justin Fields has accounted for 10 touchdowns and just 1 turnover. That is the most touchdowns a quarterback has accounted for since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement. Now, Kenny Pickett did that 2 years ago, but he did it in 13 games, accounting for 10 touchdowns. Justin Fields has now done that in 6 games. Should he remain the Steelers' starting quarterback, Doran?
I think he did. Yeah, I think he's earned it. It's difficult because I personally want to see what Russ can do. I really do. I think it might look a little bit different. I don't know if it's going to look better or worse, but it definitely will look different. But I mean, how could you take Justin Fields out? I mean, they scored 30 some points for the the first time, and obviously this year and in a long time. And I think what he does with his legs can keep him the starter.
Yeah.
I think you can't ignore that, and especially the ravished and decimated offensive line. I do believe that that slightly is in his favor compared to what Russell Wilson can do of getting the ball out, as we talked earlier. So right now, with Justin Fields somewhat protecting the football, he was gifted some things, but he's giving you a chance, and you can't turn away from that, because if you do, then you're in a whole other situation. Because if Russell Wilson, and you give him the opportunity, give him the game ball, and he doesn't do well, then you have to go back to Fields. Then you're in this little carousel of that, in a whole other situation that you don't want to have to deal with in the middle of a season.
I'm with you on all that. I agree wholeheartedly. I would continue to let Justin Fields be the guy. And let might not be the right word, because he's earned it. I mean, they are 4-2. That was a big knock on him. He can't win games. Mm-hmm. Well, here he is, 4-2, and probably has played well enough for them to be 5-1. Here's a weird stat. Quarterback rating. This was his lowest rated game of the season, but then ESPN has their bizarre QBR metric, which does factor in running as well, and he was 25 points over league average, and it was his highest QBR game of the season. Mm-hmm. So his lowest quarterback rating, basically measuring his arm, but running the football added on top of it, and it was his best game of the season, according to ESPN. Our eyes can tell us a lot. I think this was a tough eval. I'm not an all-22 guy, anything like that, but as you watch the game, and I rewatched some of the highlights this morning he did a lot of bad, but he also did a lot of good. And if Mike Tomlin does want to go with with Russell Wilson, I think he can make the case to do it. I think we might have seen Russell Wilson, Doran, if they didn't call that roughing the passer.
Yes, the interception?
Yes.
Yep.
That was, without question, by far the worst throw of the year by Justin Fields.
It immediately popped in my mind of you saying that last week. Like, we are going to see, like, you felt like we were going to see Russell Wilson. Yeah. You're like, I just have this weird feeling that, Tomlin has done this before. Thinking about some of the other quarterback situations in the past couple years, it immediately popped in my mind. I'm like, here it is. Here it comes right now. And then they throw the flag. I was like, oh, okay, well, he got saved. There you go. 2
scoring drives were aided by roughing the passer calls. And I'll tell you what, we call it like it is. That 3rd and 4 roughing the passer on Washington, that ain't roughing the passer. That's not. We understand the rules, and you can't drop a guy and have your full body weight come down. That's not what that looked like to me. That was a bad call. And you can expect a lot of those. We watch a ton of football. You see him in the standalone games. You see him on Red Zone. I don't think the officials know what roughing the passer is. I'm not sure the players know what roughing the passer is. So it's not like you're going to cry about getting gifted one, because you're going to get screwed, and they have been screwed at different times throughout the year. So it is what it is. Terrible throw. Just awful. Steelers would have gone into the half trailing, and I think you would have seen Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Mike Tomlin can just forget about that. It didn't count, but we all saw it. And Mike Tomlin, again, after the game, as he always does, talked about turnover differential. It's the most important stat to Mike Tomlin, bar none. He saw that. I think he might go with Russell Wilson this week.
Really?
Yes.
I think he counts that as an interception.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's kind of how he's been operating. Like, even if things don't really pan out to not benefit the Steelers or to benefit the other team, I think he still looks at it like that in practice is an interception.
Yes.
That's how he kind of evaluates it. In practice, that's a pick.
And he has had fumbles as well that they've been fortunate enough to fall on. I say he's accounted for 10 touchdowns and 1 turnover. That's true. Those are the facts. But he could have 6 or 7 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those numbers could be very close.
Yep.
And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'd go with Justin Fields again. But Mike Tomlin, he's so risk averse, wants to protect the football. Let your defense go do what the defense does. He's probably thinking that if the defense forces the turnovers that they forced in this game and Russell Wilson's the quarterback, you wind up with a similar result. I would not be shocked at all if on Tuesday he says, we thank Justin Fields for what he's done. He's played well. We're a 4-2 outfit, but we think the best thing for our football team is to get the veteran in there to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it in my bones. And I do very much feel like if the Steelers don't score a touchdown after that,
there's no doubt, man.
It's Russell Wilson in the second half.
No doubt about it.
And if you're that close to doing that, then you're probably going to play him against the Jets, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think, and not that Mike Tomlin needs to be impressed, but I think that what we're saying with, hey, call in and tell us what you saw differently, and especially with Fields, I don't think he's seen or saw anything that he didn't know about Justin Fields yesterday. Like, he knew that Justin Fields can run. He knows he can use his legs. Like, none of that is impressing and saying, like, okay, like, you have the spot locked down. I don't think that Mike Tomlin got any answers that he needed for this week with Justin Fields, really deep down.
Yeah.
So, I can see where you're coming from, where you feel like that this could happen, and it's definitely a possibility. It's just the outside stuff that I don't know if Mike Tomlin really wants to deal with right now. I think if there was no noise that would come with this situation, I think that Russell Wilson would be the starter tomorrow. But I don't know if you really want to play that juggling game.
Do you want to invite controversy in here?
I don't know if you really want to do that.
And it's
you're winning.
Right, you're 4-2, and you just put up 32 points. Now, Justin Fields completed one pass on their 3 touchdown drives combined. So, if you want to paint a picture on why Russell Wilson should start against the Jets, you can. The 2 roughing the passers, the setup on short fields, the only one completion on 3 touchdown drives, all those things you put in your back pocket. If you are making a case for Justin Fields, the running ability, throws on the run, which because he was able to scramble and run for so many yards and run for a couple of touchdowns, I think a couple of the throws on the run kind of get forgotten. I thought he was really impressive on that. Had a beautiful Lamar Jackson-esque touchdown pass where he was like 1.5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, but that was set up by his feet too. That's the second or third time he needs to be maybe more aware of where he is in relation to the line of scrimmage. But that was impressive. If you want to go Russ, I can see it. If you want to go Fields, you're in my camp, you're in your camp. I can see that too. Where do you come down on this, Pittsburgh? 412-928-9370. Who should start at quarterback against the Jets? You can tweet us, brought to you by South Hills Kia Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. Text us, brought to you by Edgar Steiner and Associates, a personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. We'll take one now. Let's go to Rob in Chicago. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, guys, good morning. Before I make my quarterback comment, you guys hit a nerve with me in the pre-show. The old school Pitt uniform, royal blue and mustard, has always been an all-time favorite, and I'm so glad they brought it back. Not happy with the cathedral numbers, but that's one of the coolest jerseys ever.
Okay, all right, Rob. Thank you for the call. Boy, I know we're talking about the Steelers quarterback, but those Pitt jerseys sure are beautiful.
Yes, they are.
I don't know why I did the voice, but it felt appropriate.
And I did it too.
Hey, got great uniforms. Call Rush uniforms. West Virginia, very nice. Look good, play good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.